everyone. We're Steph and Rachel, the creators of Wealth, Wisdom, and Wellbeing Podcast. The spirit of this podcast is to share the conversations and curiosities that we have with a greater community in the hope that we can develop wealth, wisdom, and well-being for ourselves and those around us. Simply put, we're in the pursuit of financial freedom and opportunity, meaningful relationships and experiences, and an increased quality of life to be able to enjoy all of it. We just want to live our best lives and help you to do the same. Come with us on this journey. Let's have some laughs, learn from our communities, and get that bread.
Hello. Welcome back, everyone. It's
Hello.
Steph and
Rachel.
Ray.
Hi.
Hey. Good morning.
Good morning, Steph. How are you this morning?
You know, I'm feeling pretty great. It's a crisp, cool morning, and I had my coffee out on the patio and was just like, holy Hannah, fall is here. I can feel it in the air. The trees are telling me all the signs.
Yeah.
The seasons are changing.
I love the cool mornings. We have like all the windows open in the house and just that fresh air. Is nice. Waking up when it's kind of cold outside of your covers. It's like one of my favorite feelings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's the best. This is a great time of year, great season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. How are you feeling this morning?
I'm good. I hosted a dinner party last night, so I'm a little tired, but have been feeling good. I was sick last weekend. School started, already had a head cold from the germs that come home with that. So I finally feel like maybe I'm kind of on the mend, but I still have this bit of like a raspy voice. So
can hear
feeling pretty sexy too.
Hey, it sounds great on the recording. Everyone's be like, bring back that voice.
Right? No. I love that piece.
I love that. Back to school. Hey, like the boys are back to school. So many of our listeners, I'm sure, like are going through the same thing as us. It's that time.
Yeah.
How has the transition been for your family?
So good. So my youngest could not wait to start kindergarten. Like we were counting down. I had to show him on the calendar how many days till he was allowed to start school. And then because it's kindergarten, they alternate Fridays, and the Fridays he doesn't go, it's like a meltdown. Like he wants to be at school. So he's loving it. And then my oldest, it's been way better grade 2 than grade 1. So that's been really, really positive, but also a little heartbreaking because now that I know what he's like happy going to school, I can look back at the last year and be like, wow, he was really miserable. So yeah, that part was a little bit hard to stomach, but off to a good start. He really likes his teachers. So we're just going to keep riding this wave of positivity and see where it goes. How about you?
No, that's great, Rach. I was just going to say like to that though, because you were saying like for your oldest to go back, and it was, you guys were looking at so many different options.
Yeah.
And it just, did you do the tour of the alternatives?
Yeah. And then so we did the tour of a private school and then was like ready to pull the trigger, and then just kind of talk to other moms in my life to see, what they recommend. Some send kids to private, some are public, blah, blah, blah. And just had decided that I was going to wait till grade 3. So I'm told everything is kind of okay. If it's not optimal as far as like maybe they're not at whatever level they're supposed to be at, up until the end of grade 3. And then after that, kind of the sentiment is you have to get yourself organized and make sure that they're not falling behind, because then it starts to matter. And I'm sure other people have very varying opinions on this, but this is kind of what I had decided. So then we said, okay, we'll just see how grade 2 goes. And see if it's an Albert issue or if it's a teacher issue. And it turns out so far that it's been a teacher issue. So I'm glad we didn't send him to private because that's also a huge expense that I just really didn't want to start managing.
100%, right? Like,
Yeah.
nice to know that there is that option there, but yeah, it's tricky. There's so much pressure for kids, eh? And like, there's just a lot of factors, and it sounds like you guys figured it out. And
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
so
it's a big
far,
relief. It's a really big relief. It's
I'm glad to
insane
hear
how heavy
that.
that was on my shoulders. So it just feels
Mm-hmm.
really good not to have to be worrying about him all the time, about what he's doing.
Mm.
And he can read now. Like it was the summer of reading. So
Yeah.
now he calls
Oh,
himself a reader, which is really cool.
oh.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really awesome. So
Wow,
it's
like
all
with the
working out.
time and space and
Yeah.
like that just trust that our kids are gonna get there, or just approaching things in those like really just at their pace,
Yeah.
with the space is so huge.
Yeah.
And now he's identifying like I'm a reader. I
Yeah.
love it.
It's
Oh,
really cool. It's so
I
cute.
love that.
Yeah.
And for your guys' well-being as a family, like that, like you said, such a relief off your shoulders.
Yeah. Well, then we can
Yay.
kind of step away from tutoring too. So, um,
Like, I
yeah,
mean,
that'll,
grade one and was being tutored. Like, that's
yeah,
just, oh my gosh, my heart.
I
I'm like,
know.
oh, it's just
We're
so much
just,
pressure.
it was, yeah, but doing everything we could to kind of bump up his confidence and tutoring was part of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
Oh my gosh.
that's that in a nutshell.
Well, and this is great, like, because today I know we wanted to do a bit of a catch up. We've just kind of wrapped up summer. All of our listeners are wrapping up summer, getting into the fall routines. And I've been curious too, just like to reflect a bit on, we spoke a little bit about well-being for your family there, for you personally. What was your summer like? Albert learned to read. There's been some exciting things that way. How else did you guys,
Yeah.
what kind of summer was it?
We camped a lot. So we were out in the mountains doing our camping, riding bikes, did a few hikes, which was really fun. The boys, they are interested in doing that now. So
Yeah.
which is kind of what I like to do. So now we're getting at the age where I can incorporate more of the activities that I enjoy.
Nice.
Um, so that was really nice. They went and stayed with my dad for 2 weeks, which was interesting because that was
Yeah.
far away. So I had to kind of learn to let go and just trust that they would be okay and have a good time.
Hmm.
So Aaron and I got 2 weeks to ourselves, which was a lot of fun. We
Wow.
hadn't had that before, so that was kind of
Uh-huh.
interesting.
What did you guys do at that time? Oh my gosh, 2 weeks.
Nothing. We literally did nothing. We went to work and
Yeah.
then I just loved it that I didn't have to do lunches or meal prep. Like I could
Mm.
come home and eat a can of tuna if that's what I wanted for dinner. Like there wasn't that's
Mm.
probably the best part about it is just I didn't have to do daycare pickup and I could eat without thinking about what I was going to feed the kids. So that part was really, really nice. But summer is a busy time for Aaron at work too. So it's not like we
Mm.
could get away or do anything. But it was just nice to have the freedom to choose what you want. So that was
Mm.
pretty cool. And then other than that, we just kind of enjoyed our time outside and
Mm-hmm.
that was it. Like really
Yeah.
nothing too crazy. What about you,
Sounds
Steph?
lovely. Well, I think that summer is just it's such that time for all of us to give a bit more permission to ourselves to have that freedom
Mhm.
and to slow down a bit. If we're choosing, I know others kind of ramp up and want to do all the things. For us and our family this summer, it was totally about slowing down. We did a lot of sitting in the backyard, a lot of hanging out in the sun, a lot of putting our feet in the grass and going for walks and just spending time doing the simplest of things. And I've loved it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we haven't even went to the cabin in Ontario yet. We got out on the boat a few times, and so we're on the water. Enjoyed that. I really slowed down just in the day to day for like work and stuff like that as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, a lot of prioritizing family time for our own well-being, and just the kids are only this little once,
Yeah,
right? And so I've just had a huge shift in the past 2 years of priorities and what's important to me. And I know we've talked a lot about, like, in our other episodes, wealth and financial literacy and
yeah,
all the things of financial wealth. But there's really so many other facets to wealth than just finances, right?
for sure.
So, like, there's, that time wealth, and that I think the time wealth for me is one that I really value. Like,
Mhm,
to be able to have more time with my family rather than maybe having more wealth creation in the sense of finances,
mhm,
you know?
for sure.
Yeah.
And I think it can shift, right? But I feel like if you can acknowledge or just identify in whatever your current state is, what you might feel like you're lacking, then your kind of wealth buckets might fluctuate a bit. So for you, it sounds like time was really big this summer for sure, but over the last couple years, I feel like that will change. It might not, but I feel like there's some times where like, oh no, I feel like I'm needing to go more in this direction. Like you had mentioned, um, the different types of wealth. So maybe at that point you're like, no, I think next year is going to be about more about physical wealth, doing whatever,
Mhm.
setting a goal of, I want to do 40 hikes in my 40th year. Like something like that.
Yes.
Maybe that'll kind of change. And maybe it continues to change
Mm.
as we age.
Oh, I think absolutely it will, right? Like,
Yeah.
already you can feel, I don't know, we'll get into this because I know you'll have a lot to say on this, Rach, but just with the shifts, like, in myself, like, I was so couple years ago, 4 years ago, in business creation
Mhm.
mode and building a business. And then 2 years in, after my daughter was born, I was like, whoa, whoa, it's like, stop the bus.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
I am missing, in a lot of ways, this precious time. And this, like, yeah, I had a big wake up call.
Yeah.
And this is not my priority right now. And maybe down the road. So it's been like an evolution of
Yeah.
shifts, like, of how do you pivot?
Mhm.
That's been the last 2 years, is pivoting, 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 pivoting. But anyways, to focus rather than that creation of wealth in that way and business, it's been family focused. And I agree with you, probably in a couple years, as she gets older, it's like, kind of, she'll have more independence, and then there's going to be a time for me to focus on that career piece again.
Mhm.
um but it's just, yeah, it's funny how it shifts. And the physical wealth, like, this brought me, when you said that, I was like, oh my gosh, there's this quote: you can do everything, you just can't do it. You can have everything and do everything. It's just, in this moment, you can't do absolutely everything at once
Mhm.
and do it well.
Mhm.
Right? So it's like, not like we can be in peak health and be like peak with our finances and peak as a mother and peak as a wife. Like, there's seasons, I think, for everything.
Mhm.
And so in this season of life, Rach, and just kind of thinking about you, where are you putting your focus? What wealth are you focusing on these days?
Physical, for sure. This was my year to kind of figure out what my body needed, um, especially after last year and my um, health issues and having to take time off work, um, and really physically unable to care for my kids for some time. So yeah, I really took seriously what I had to change. And still kind of figuring out why my body was reacting the way it was for things, just like crazy um inflammatory responses to things that should not warrant that type of response.
Mm,
So for me this year, like I've now signed up with a private health clinic, which I never thought I would do. Obviously here in Canada, we have um free free healthcare
Mm.
that we pay for with taxes. Um, and so private isn't something that a lot of people do, but I just wasn't getting the answers I needed from our traditional system. So that's
Mhm.
been my focus this year. And now, because I'm paying out of pocket, I'm trying to take it, as seriously as I can, because I don't want to pay for this again next year. So I kind of want to get it figured out and then just move on and keep, using the tools and um, whatever it might be that they discover, just to keep taking care of myself moving forward in the way that works. So that's been my
Right.
focus, really. And so far it's
Mm.
going okay. Yeah.
Wonderful, like, to resource and be able to have access to that option.
Mhm.
What did you notice? Like, you mentioned tools there. What tools are you learning about, if you don't mind sharing maybe
For
one or
sure.
two, or and like how that's different from the traditional Canadian healthcare public system?
Well, yeah. So what's interesting is this clinic is very much about um, food. So they try very hard through diet and exercise to kind of to attack whatever problems you might be experiencing. And then you kind of try that for a few months. They've got check-ins where you take blood and do kind of these tests, and then they'll change whatever it might be that's going on to try and get you back on whatever path, or if it's working, we'll do more of the same. And
Mhm.
so a lot of it is diet. And I don't mean diet as in like, traditionally diet to lose weight. It's just um foods that should be supporting different functions in your body. So that's
Mhm.
been the main focus. And then two, I love the gym. I love
Absolutely.
to exercise. I'm not
Mhm.
insane. I know it's what my body needs, and the endorphins for me are out of control. So I love
Mhm.
cardio. And
Yeah.
that was the first thing the doctor told me to stop. So, because she said
Yeah.
that your body is not able to distinguish between different stress. So,
Mhm.
whatever stress I was experiencing, let's say at work or within my day to day, then I go and do a 5K run. And it's like that stress response is the same in any of those situations. So she said, you have
Mhm.
to stop with the cardio, lift more weights. And
Mhm.
then once we can kind of get this inflammation under control, then I could start doing cardio again. So I've limited myself to one run a week, and then the rest is just weights, which I
Mhm.
also really love. So yeah, so
Mm.
I've just kind of been shifting from what my regular routine is and moving more towards this program. And then two, with the food, the tricky part there was just I didn't want to make two meals. So is kind of getting my kids to eat what I'm eating.
Mm. And are they
Yeah.
focusing, like, on the food side of things more from high protein and really clean, like, obviously not the packaged foods,
Oh yeah.
like doing perimeter shopping? Are they even, like, supporting organic or more like
No,
the what are Mhm.
there's no chat about organic. It really is just clean, lean proteins, and a lot of it, and then staying away from carbs. So
Mhm.
sugars, no, I'm not supposed to drink, but I'll have like once a month. Like the dinner party I hosted, I had wine.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so and very much perimeter shopping. But a lot of just like lighter. I kind of picture it as lighter foods. Like I don't do oatmeal. I do chia seeds.
Mm.
Um, I try and stay away, or I'm eating a lot of turkey, a lot of chicken, lots of eggs,
Mhm.
just really high protein and good fats. So that's really what
Mm.
I've been doing. Yeah, which I
And
love. Like, and vegetable.
yeah,
I usually eat like that anyway. I do kind of miss my bread, but
right.
it wasn't a big like departure from what I had been doing. So it wasn't too
Mhm.
too hard. And
That
that's yeah.
wasn't too big of a shift, like
Yeah.
too hard for you to stick with. And I think the last podcast episode we did, you may have even mentioned a bit about for sure the inflammation and
Yeah.
talking about that journey a little bit. And you may have just started with this private clinic, if I'm remembering correctly. So it's been like, that was 1, 2, 3, 4. Has it been like 5 months?
So that was the like preliminary testing where you
Mm-hmm.
kind of sign up and just do the test, and they try and pinpoint what type of program would benefit you. And then now I signed up for the program. So
Gotcha.
I'm 3
Yeah.
months into the program, just had my blood test this last week to kind of see how it's progressed. But so far I'm
Mm-hmm.
feeling really good. Um, I don't think I'm where I want to be yet, but I definitely feel better. I definitely feel better. I'm sleeping better.
Mm.
I'm feeling really energized. I feel like I have a lot of head clarity. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
not getting foggy, which
Yeah.
is so interesting because I didn't realize I had been experiencing that until I
Mm.
stopped. And I don't, everyone is different. And even my doctor at this clinic, she's like, some people will not have these responses to the same things. So you and
Yeah.
I, if, we're obviously made differently, we have different
Mm-hmm.
bodies. Um, you could have a bagel and not have brain fog. And that's
Mm-hmm.
just how your body metabolizes and right, like works with whatever it is you're eating.
Yeah.
I have a bagel and I need to take a nap. So
Yeah.
and I'll still indulge, but I just have to like plan it. For me, that's kind of what I've
Yeah.
been doing. Yeah.
I could pass out an hour after this bagel, so
So it better be worth
yeah.
it. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's been interesting. But yeah, I'm feeling
Yeah.
really good.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Rach.
Pardon
And
me.
I'm just curious because I'm sure the listeners are probably thinking this too a little bit. With the team at this private health clinic, so is the physician, are they like an MD? Are they a naturopath? Like, what is their background?
It's a combo. So there's an
Oh,
MD.
cool. Mm-hmm.
Um, I have a naturopath. I have a registered dietitian. Then there's like a whole exercise team that you can also sign up with. But for me, I felt pretty confident that I could do the exercise piece on my own. So I,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get that part of the program.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have nurses to do your blood testing so that you don't have to wait at the like public
Mm-hmm.
labs, which I've done before. There's no problem doing that. It's kind of nice when you show up for um a booked appointment and it begins at the time that it's supposed to and you're
Uh-huh.
not waiting an hour and a half for yeah. So
Yep.
that part's really nice. But yeah, so it's a whole team of people that kind of are focused on different parts of your program or your journey. And then
Yeah.
together they kind of build this whole package for you. Yeah.
Lovely. And I wonder, like, your health benefits privately, because your employer, you have health benefits or a health spending account.
Yeah.
So, because this would be quite pricey.
It's costly, yes.
Yeah, definitely. Right. And so, are you able to bill some of that through your private health insurance?
Yeah, that's a really great point, Steph, because I do have that luxury, if you will. So as long as the physicians or these health professionals are registered, I can claim each of their like blocks of time with my
Mm-hmm.
health care. So the only one that's not has not worked out for me is the so sorry, I said she was a registered dietitian, but she's like it's something else, like a natural dietitian. So my healthcare doesn't recognize that, which is too
Mm-hmm.
bad because I mean she's very good in my opinion at what she does. But so that's one thing that I've really truly had to pay out of pocket. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's obviously some type of um uh how do you call like a surplus fee almost that I wouldn't be able to get claimed, and that's just part of
Mm-hmm.
the service, like a service fee. So for sure, if anyone is looking to do something like this, check with your health benefits and try and plan accordingly to have some of it or all of it covered if you can. I hadn't anticipated signing up. So this year when I redo my kind of benefits package. I'm going to do it quite a bit differently so I can put more money towards this program.
Mhm.
But for sure there's
Yeah.
options. I will say though, and I know not everyone can kind of allocate resources to this, but if you do have something that you're dealing with health wise and you have these options, for us, it was really about where else can we cut costs so I can actually do this because without being well, I can't do anything else. Like we can't vacation together. I can't take the boys to whatever they need to be taken to. Everything else suffers. So for us, it was kind of a no-brainer. Like, yeah, we'll put
Mhm.
money towards this because we had to. So um anyway, so if you can have that conversation with your family if you're looking at something like this, and just really take it seriously because like yeah, without being well,
Mhm.
everything else kind of goes to shit.
Everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good point and perspective, Rach. And I think often when we get to this mid 30s and maybe some health things start to pop up, that's one of the first times that you're like, whoa, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, what about me? And then that perspective of health really is that most important thing.
And
That's number one.
I'm so tired of the canned, oh, it's perimenopause. Fuck off. Like, if I have to hear that one more time, I am not even 40. Like, no, it's not just perimenopause. Like, there's something else going on. And I've heard it from male physicians, female physicians. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I cannot believe how often that's the answer to, oh, have debilitating pain once a month. Oh, yeah, it's perimenopause. Like,
Mm.
figure it out. Just figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cop out and I hate it.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
don't know
that's
if
frustrating.
yeah.
I think it's a buzzword, the perimenopause. We talked about it in a previous episode as
Mhm.
well. And the thing, it's a buzzword, but at the same time, I think that there's probably a lot of validity to it. However, if you are just saying as a blanket statement, this is perimenopause, and then, okay, it's what's the action plan? And in the typical health system, the public health, not saying this is the treatment you get from every health provider, but often it's like, here's a pill,
Yeah,
here's
exactly.
this, and it's just, I love this approach of the cohesiveness, the
Yeah.
integrated care, the collaborative care, where everyone is in one spot. They can see what's happening because you can have, your family physician in public health be seeing massage, a dietitian, all
Mhm.
these other things. And then, it's just not collaborative. All the pieces
Mhm.
are so separate. And that's where you have to be very strong as an individual and have the capacity, not even just strong, but like the capacity to be able to advocate for yourself and like bridge that care, which that's wrong.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be like that. So there's so much work to do in this area, but
Also finding a physician that sees the validity or the value in these other streams cuz
mm,
like that's what I like about where I'm at with this program is the doctor looks at the dietitian's notes and she looks at the
mhm.
naturopath and their notes and she kind of will tweak what she's told me or based on what these other professionals are identifying. Whereas I know
Mhm.
with my GP, I was saying I was going to the naturopath. I was asking her to give me a rec for these different blood tests, and she's like, "You don't need these." And
Mm.
so I just didn't feel like she was on board with my other um,
Yes.
attempts, even though she
Mhm.
was unable to give me answers. So if you can
Mhm.
find a doctor too that is supporting that, um, amazing. But that's what I like about this place is they actually believe in one another's like profession. So
Right.
it's hard to
Yep.
find.
And like I think a big part of that is like ego. Like can you get your
Yeah,
ego as a professional out of the way, right? To
for
be
sure.
you're not the end all be all in this one area. That's a sign of really a conscious, competent,
Yeah.
yeah, professional provider. Agreed. Oh man, the amount of times, even when I was on my and still, of course, this is an ongoing thing for health. But when I was in the thick of it with my health concerns that came up, yet very frustrating when you wanted to get the blood work, you went to your primary provider, and I only did it so I could kind of sidestep some of the costs of doing
Right.
it privately, right? But a lot of times got shut down, and then I would have to either really hardly advocate, or if it wasn't happening, I would just go and pay privately.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? This isn't worth my time to keep coming in here,
Yeah.
waiting in the waiting room, going in to get it. I'm like, I'm just going to pay out of pocket.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate that I was able to do that, and that's not an option for everyone. And that's that's a very privileged position to be in. And I just feel like that's unfortunate. That's the way
I
the
know.
healthcare system is.
Yeah. And here we are.
Woo!
Yeah. So that was the
Yeah.
summer. Lots of weights. I was joking because summer is usually well, this is what my friend Ananya, who's much younger than we are, she
Yeah.
was saying summer's like at the time where you're cutting weight, like you're pulling back because you're gonna be in whatever bikini bod. And I was just like eating so much chicken. Just being like, I'm
Oh.
gaining. This is my gain summer.
Oh
So
no.
it was great though. But yeah, that's what I was up
That's
to.
oh,
Just
I love you're able to
bulking
say
up.
that perspective. Oh,
Yeah.
I just feel that's still the language girls are thinking about and things like that. Hey, like we're
Yeah.
cutting weight for the sun. Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
good.
men, but
Yeah,
for
yeah. I
sure.
shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it goes both ways. Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So it was
Okay,
cool.
that is cool.
So what
Well,
about you? You had a summer of like decluttering. Um I like that. I don't know what I'm about today, but this like lightening of things, like lightening your space, maybe your shoulders. What did that look like for you?
I think that's a great way to say it. It was a lot of lightening, a lot of decluttering, and with the decluttering of our physical home and our space. So we got rid of everything in our basement, sorted through it, did donations, recycled throughout whatever we needed to do. And we're doing a full basement refresh right now. So just in the process of kind of midway on that project.
Mhm.
But in the process of doing this, just a lot more like space has opened up mentally.
Cool.
Like, yeah, I've heard that like when you start to declutter, like you can really tell someone's environment, right? When you see what's their inner, it gives you a peek into their internal world.
Mhm.
And if we look at our basement, it was like, whoa, you got a lot of stuff down there that's really, not really organized and kind of sitting in piles and not getting a lot of attention to it. So anyways, yeah, that's been really great to get a start on that. What else? I feel like I've just been restructuring a lot of things again to align where I'm at
Mhm.
with what we need as a family. And so I'm doing things. This is what we always do. Everything totally unconventionally,
Yeah,
for the
that's
most
your
part.
style.
So people change their names when they get married. Not me.
Yeah.
People, usually get married before they have children. Not me.
Yeah.
That's a little bit more common these days. What else? Oh, people are gonna, go put their kiddo in public school system. Not us.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we're just totally doing the opposite of everyone. So with that being said, like I've moved my whole schedule to a Friday, Saturday, Sunday for supports, which is
Okay.
super funny. So I'm gearing up for that right now. So to open up some space that's like just more consistency, and it just
Okay.
works well for our family. So it's really funny when I've offered up some of the support sessions recently, families are like, pardon? Like, I thought you didn't work weekends. Yep, that's the way it was. And I'm shifting to the opposite of the entire world. So yeah, that's it's been a lot of shifts in just my thinking, and that was a hard one. And I
Mhm.
bring that up because it's funny to just reflect, I don't think funny is the right word, but interesting how run deep these programs are in our heads. You work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. You
Yeah.
get your Saturday, Sundays. That's your rest days.
Yeah.
And I am just so, I'm not subscribing to a lot of these things that are rooted in me
Mhm.
and were programmed in me. And it's been a lot of recreating my subconscious mind, reprogramming.
Yeah.
As intense as that sounds, hey, I'm in the soul awakening phase of my life. It's like 35 to 42. It's like, let's go. I'm
But,
listening. I'm
you know,
listening.
that's a lot of people though. Like a lot of people don't have traditional 9 to 5 Monday to Friday. Like my Aaron, right? He works retail. So weekends he's working. So it's
Mhm.
not I don't think it's that uncommon to have that. Like for sure it's more traditional to do Monday to Friday 9 to 5, but
Mhm.
it's doctors, like anyone that does shift work, right? It's just
Mhm.
not for everyone. So if you can change your schedule to accommodate the things that, you need to prioritize in your life, that's amazing. Because a lot of
Mhm.
people wouldn't have that flexibility to, even if, they wanted to. So I think it's great that you're doing that.
Well, that's just where I'm at, is that freedom, flexibility, the connection,
Yeah.
that's the most important. And, I also, if I can avoid crowds,
Yeah.
I'm all in. And when are the busiest times? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, pretty
Yeah.
much going out anywhere. So if we can free up some of that to be able to explore on the weekdays as a
Hmm.
family,
That's
that
really
sounds
cool.
lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at. We're gearing up for an adventure of sorts, and I can't remember how much I spoke to it in a previous podcast, but that's something that will be, I don't know exactly, and I'm just letting things kind of fall into place as they will.
Hmm.
It's that flow rather than pull, or like a push, or like that resistance. If it's
Sure.
feeling
Yeah.
resistance, I'm not pushing for it. If it's flowing and it's working out and it's falling into place, I'm following that. So it's,
Hmm.
yeah, we'll see how it all plays out.
I'm excited for you. I'm excited to kind of, hear what comes up in your journey and where it takes you. And I think it's really exciting. I've also tried to let go a little bit I have a traditional 9 to 5, although it's more like 7 to 4. Um, but there were some things at work that I wasn't so keen on.
Mm.
Some relationships that were really difficult to manage. And I just kind of surrendered and said,
Mm.
like, when you think, oh, no one realizes how much of an asshole this one person is. And you're like, why isn't anyone aware? Like, why isn't anyone doing anything? I sometimes have these thoughts. So what happened at work was I just said, you know what? This will come out. Like that they can't fly under the radar forever. Other people obviously interact with them. If it's not a me problem, their attitude or their behavior is likely consistent with others.
Mm.
So I was just like, I'm going to be one of my mentors at work. He told me that I had to be the patient tiger. He uses analogies for everything, and
Yeah.
I love it. And one of them was about a tiger. So
Yeah.
I keep telling myself, like in my mornings, I'll journal and I write, be the patient tiger.
Mm.
And it's finally this person who I was having a difficult time with quit. And so I
Yes.
think for them, the writing was probably on the wall. They probably knew that they were getting into some hot water. So they exited before they could be escorted, if you will.
Oh.
But that was part of I don't know, that's been something I'm trying to work on, kind of similar to what you're saying. Like, don't expect too much. Obviously, me interpreting, because I know you didn't say anything about expectations, but just kind of letting
Mm.
go and being like, you know what, things will fall into place. I just kind of have to be aware and open to it. And that's I feel like what I've
Mm.
also been doing, a little less control and planning and more
Mm.
of just keep doing you
Mm-hmm.
and putting your best foot forward, and everything else will kind of fall into place.
Yeah, some really good points there and very similar. And I think that control in type A and that having a plan for everything has been you and I to a T for a
Oh,
very
yeah.
long time.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we know as we do this journey of healing, that comes from some deep rooted feeling of unsafety and
Yeah.
anxiety. That's
Yeah.
why we need that control because it makes us feel safe, right? So as we learn to let go and as we learn to just surrender, that's a beautiful word, Rach,
Yeah.
and we just practice it, it's so fucking scary.
It is.
It is. And then that is where that trust starts to get built. And look at that outcome in that scenario. I think the key though is still having this clarity in where you want to go, not maybe in that exact scenario, but the being clear on the things that you're wanting, but then surrendering and releasing and letting
Mhm.
go and giving that space for the universe to work its magic,
Yeah.
right? Like we set a little bit of an intention at the beginning, and what was one of them?
Be
Letting
open to
it
the
go.
media.
Be open to the signs that is
Yeah.
around us and those subtle things, because once you're clear on what you're wanting,
Yeah.
stepping back and then looking for the signs. And I think one of my part of my journey right now for well-being is reconnecting to self and that intuition,
Mhm.
because we have so much power, and the world's wanted to strip us from that. That's for sure. So
Yeah.
coming back to that well-being is just huge. So what are like 5 things that you would say you do consistently to support your well-being?
Oh, yeah. And they're very, like, buzzy. I mean, none of this is new to the world. So,
Woohoo.
and I do it fairly consistently. There are times where I'll fall off the wagon, so to speak, like when mentioned that last weekend I had a cold. Like I wasn't
Mm,
waking up at 5 and journaling. I just didn't. So it's, I probably do it 90% of the time, to be honest. And it's taken me
yes.
quite a bit of time to get here. But um
Let's get clear. Consistent is like 80 plus
y-
percent of the time because we're human, and
yes,
that makes a lot of sense.
and
Yeah.
life happens. Yeah. But I
Yes.
will wake up at 5 Monday to Friday. And my kind of routine is I have a quick shower. I go downstairs in my robe. I do my 10 to 15 minutes of meditation. And some days I'm on it. Like some days I come out of that meditation feeling like $1,000,000. More recently, my mind's been everywhere. So like I'm going through the
Mm-hmm.
motions, but I don't feel like I'm getting my full benefit.
Mm.
All to kind of support the fact like I'm not some guru. Like I just try my best and sometimes it's not what I want it to be.
Hey, what kind of meditation are you doing? Like a guided or like visualization? Are you doing like a walking meditation or?
It's usually guided. I like to do mine through Peloton. So I'll
Yes.
just pull up a morning meditation and it's sometimes about goal setting, kind of trying to picture what a positive day would be and I just sit there and try and marinate in it.
Mm.
And then I'll journal. So then I finish my meditation, I grab my hot cup of coffee, I journal for about 15 minutes. And that's kind of if I don't start my morning like that, um there it feels like something's off in my day. So that's
Yeah.
2 things. I think
Mm.
it's actually 3. My waking up at 5, I like that consistency because I feel like it gives me the time to do the things I wanna do. So it'd be my
And
waking up
space to
early.
be you,
Exactly,
like
and the house is
without fam.
quiet, like, I'm in my
Mm-hmm.
own vibe, my own
Mm-hmm.
space, the kids are still asleep. So I need that 5 o'clock start, and then I probably 4 or 5 days of the week, I'll do my workout in the afternoon, and that's something I look forward to. It splits up my day. I
Mm-hmm.
get a lot of pleasure truly from going to the gym midday, and then
Mm-hmm.
so that's 4, and then I'd
Mm-hmm.
say my 5th is really just eating well. Like if
Mm-hmm.
I can kind of plan my meals for the day and stick to that,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I feel like I get a lot of clarity. My body feels good. I sleep better. So that'd be my 5 things: waking up consistently at a time that I know is gonna let me do the things I wanna do,
Yeah.
meditating, journaling, exercise, and a good food day. That's for
Nice.
me. What about you? Similar?
Some similarities. Yeah, I'd say I'm a bit more even simplistic than that in some of the things I consistently do for well-being. And the routine in the morning is one thing that I have had on my, you know, intention list for a long time. I've never been a routine person,
Yeah.
ever. I love a lot of spontaneity, a lot of like change and mixing
Yeah,
it up. But I know that I truly need a routine, and especially in the morning because it sets the tone for your whole day.
for sure.
However, I've been failing consistently, and I'm okay with that because you know what? There's only one way up but up. So, one thing that I've been very consistent at is getting up and going outside in the morning to get that morning sun
Yeah.
to help because that circadian rhythm
Mhm.
relies a lot and is connected with the sun. So when we can get that in our day, there's so many benefits for sleep, even for just a few minutes.
Mhm.
So I'll go out on my deck and it's been a lot easier because it's summer.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I'd like
yeah,
to hear how
right?
that changes at -25.
Yeah. Well,
You're just
keep
at
you
the
posted
window.
how it's going. Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Bundle up all of my well, I'll
Yeah.
have to get my boots or something. Yeah. But no, so that's been something that's huge. For me, well-being is so much more, oh, what's the word? Just like I can just feel myself at ease and grounded after I've been in nature.
Mm, mhm.
So I need to go put my feet in the grass,
Yeah.
go for a walk, look at the trees, or sometimes it's just sitting on my back deck
Mhm.
and looking up. We have like a green space that we're backed onto, and there's like probably 50-plus-year-old trees. And just staring and listening to the birds,
Yeah.
key
That is
for me.
nice.
Third one, I'd say my evening tea. I have a really good routine for bedtime, and when I don't do it, I feel unsettled. I feel like it's trickier for me to fall asleep. I feel like my thoughts, the monkey mind's going nuts. But I have a playlist that I do have. It's for my bedtime routine. I journal. I do a gratitude list every single day,
Mhm.
pretty much. There's weeks I miss it and stuff, but I'd say at least 80% of the week
Mhm.
I get it. And then I have my tea, sleepy time, with magnesium.
Yeah.
That is just gold for me. Whew, so good. And it helps just like relax and sleep. And I get a lot deeper of a sleep, I find, with
Nice.
magnesium. Yes, but I'm still going to bed really late. So that's one thing that I am more of a night owl. So I would like to
Mm.
shift because our body does so many things between 10 and 3. And I've been reading a lot about that. So going to bed at 11 or 11:30, whew, gets a little bit away from that healing time that your body has. So yeah, that's something I'm working on as well. But the routine part of it is working nice for me.
That's
And the
great.
last, yeah, I use a lot of like reading. I love to read. That's so important for my well-being.
Mhm.
So,
I
so I
I
guess,
like to read too, but I find, um, I like to multitask.
mm,
Makes me feel like I've, um done something. And I know reading is
mm,
doing something, don't get me wrong. Like vacation, I'll take
mm,
5 book. I love to read on vacation. But I feel like when I'm home, I like the
mm,
audiobooks because I
mm,
can prepare dinner or I'll be on the train going to work and I'll listen to a book. Keeps
yeah.
my hands free so I can hang on to whatever if I don't get a seat. So I'm really into
Mm-hmm.
the audiobooks lately. I find
Yeah.
them to be really soothing. Yeah.
Yeah. They're a great option on the go for sure. And I think like, what are you listening to right now?
Oh, right now? So I usually do something like self-helpy and then I will flip to fiction and then flip back to self-help.
Nice.
Um so right now I'm listening to A Court of Thorns and Roses. It's kind of fantasy-ish. Not
Okay.
usually what I listen to at all, but
Cool.
a friend told me about it. So I've been liking it.
You're
And
enjoying
then
it. Okay.
after this, there's a book that I recommended to my mom that I hadn't read yet, but it's about letting go. It's
Oh,
about forgiveness. So that's going to be the
okay.
next one that I read.
The next
Yeah.
one. I like that alternation. I think I have a bit of obsession with self-improvement and self-help, and I think
I
it's
would
like
agree.
yeah, right? Like I am obsessed with it, and I
Yeah.
think it's a bit of like in my self-discovery, it's a little bit of a nice way to like keep getting information
Yeah.
and feel like I'm doing something but not actually having to take the action to do something. So
Right.
that's, yeah. So I'm very self aware. So I still love it. I'm like a junkie of it, but I'm trying to mix it up a little bit too with having more fiction or just like things that aren't related
So
to improving
serious.
yourself. Yeah, like, well, so serious or like, yeah, just like, yeah, maybe a little bit more fun. So, yeah.
It's fun to have fun.
It is fun to have fun. We just
Yeah.
went to Disneyland
Oh, did
again.
you?
Yes, we
You're
were
also,
there.
if we're talking obsessions, Steph, one of
Yeah.
yours is the self-help. And
Yes.
I don't say this in a negative way. It's just you know what you like, and I feel like you have strong focus. And so
Yes.
that would be one of them. And then I'd say the other one for sure is Disneyland. Like,
I
do you have
love.
shares in this in Disney?
Yes, I
Okay,
do.
good, good,
Of
because you
course.
should.
Of course. Of course I do, right?
Yeah.
Yes. No, I freaking love it because it's one of the quickest ways I think for me to get into play with my inner
Oh,
child and one of the most
interesting.
costly. But like when I land there, I am like, yahoo, like let's do this. Like I just get very like playful and I can feel it instantly.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Sean and I, my husband and I did a really delayed mini moon
Oh,
and we
cool.
and then he reframed it as mini moon, which was so cute, like Minnie Mouse. And I was like, I love this. So we had a freaking
Just
blast.
the
And
two of
that,
you then?
yes,
Oh, nice. That's so lovely.
it was amazing. It was just an incredible trip. Wow. I highly recommend it. Like, who was someone I was telling? They're like, you're gonna go to Disneyland? Like, you don't want to go somewhere more like, romantic? I was like, yeah, you'd think so, but for no, this is where I want to go. So this is
Romance
where we
is
went.
where what you make of it. Like, it's not the place. Like, you could go
It
to
was
Paris and probably
romantic.
have the most epic domestic of your life. Like, right? Like, does it
it
really matter?
We went to Vegas for our baby moon.
Yeah. You are unique.
We do. I am, and I follow what feels good, and it freaking is awesome.
Yeah, good for you.
Yep.
Actually, we have
Yeah. So
friends that are going to Vegas next week, and we were invited. They were over for the dinner party last night, and they're like, "There's still time for you guys to book."
yeah, are you gonna do it?
No, I'm
No,
like not
no.
feeling comfortable spending that cash. Like, I feel like I would not
Mm.
enjoy myself because I'd be so worried about what
Mm.
I was spending money on. Um,
Okay.
so I flat out just said like, you know what, we can't afford it, and they were
It's
like,
not in our
okay,
budget right now.
yeah. I felt so good saying
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah.
anyway, sorry, you just sparked that thought about Vegas.
No, well, that's great, right? And especially if it's not something that's going to bring you value
Yeah.
and like fill your bucket. Yeah, and if it's going to make you stressed, yeah, that's a hard no.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
interested.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
so when you book Disney, do you do it through some vacations or do you book right off the site?
Good question. So I've done Costco before for Disney World
Yeah.
and found it was a pretty
Good
good
price?
deal. Yeah, good price, nice incentives, like kids eat free, like random perks like that, early entry to the park
Mm.
at this one resort that wasn't a Disney resort. But anyways, and then this time though, I actually just booked right through Disney's website, which I've never done.
Yeah.
And they just have for Canadian residents like different incentives every once in a while. And so yeah, it was really, really awesome.
That's
So we booked
cool.
at one of the Disney hotels there, which
Yeah.
was really special and nice way to celebrate. And keeps you a little bit like Disneyland. It's so much smaller in Disney World, so it was a nice way to stay in like the bubble and like all the magic. I really enjoyed that part
Yeah.
of it. But yeah, and I have points for WestJet, which I was fortunate to have a few left that we were able to fly.
Oh, nice.
Pro tip: I will never fly to LAX for anything again that I don't have to. Like, we went to Orange County, John Wayne Orange County Airport. It
Okay.
was 20-minute drive. I was off the plane, had our bags in our shuttle in like 10 minutes, and
What?
at the oh yeah, we were there in like less than 40 minutes in our hotel room
Oh my
unpacking.
gosh. I didn't know there
If
was another option. I've only flown to LAX maybe twice, but I didn't even know there was like another airport nearby.
Yes, so Orange County is really good. Apparently Long Beach is like better because it's not very busy,
Oh,
but it's
there
a
you
little
go.
further. But no, Orange County. I almost didn't want to share that because I just want to keep it to myself because it's just no,
We'll edit this out.
it's so small. Oh, and then on the way home, this is another perk because it would take hours to get to LAX, get in there, get
Yeah.
everything going, you know. And usually we do a rental car, and then with this option, we don't even need to because we're not leaving this like Disney bubble. But the point being, when we came home, we were so relaxed. We were having lunch in downtown Disney at this like Mexican restaurant. It was
Mm.
delicious. Like, it was so good. Anyways, one of the best meals because we had some hit and miss food in the parks. Um, we forgot our frickin' passports at the hotel.
Oh
I like
no.
walk up to the WestJet desk and she's
Oh
like, passports,
no.
please. And I was like my face was just said it all. And Sean's like, Stephanie, you have the passports. I was like, do you have the passports? He's like, no. So we were able to get in a taxi,
Holy fuck.
go all the way back to the hotel. I was
Oh
like
my
calling the
gosh.
hotel as we're in this taxi. They were able to get them out of the safe, bring them down to the front desk. We got back in the taxi, same taxi. The lady was awesome. She was hilarious and just like, think about all the positive things of your trip and
Oh
just all, she was so cute. And we had traffic on the way back because it was rush hour. It was like
yeah.
3:30 or 4. And then we were able to get back to the airport, checked in through security with only 3 people ahead of us, and still had half an hour.
That's insane. You would
That's
have
how
missed it.
close
Had
this
you
is.
gone to LAX, it would have been game over. You'd been like,
We
we're
would have been
staying another
screwed.
night.
Yep. 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 It was
Oh
incredible that
man.
that worked out. So anyways,
I don't
yeah.
when those situations occur, are you a nice person to your husband? Like,
I was so proud of us, Rach, because typically I wanted to blame him so hard.
yeah.
You cleaned out the closet.
Yeah.
Why didn't you check the safe? Blah, blah, blah. And in that scenario, I was so proud of us. Neither one of us reacted and took it out on each other. We literally just took action and dealt with it.
That's
And like,
amazing.
this is like one of the first times ever. We actually celebrated a little
Hey,
at the
good for
airport because
you.
it usually we're very like kind of like, oh, you did blah blah, you know, like little digs,
Yeah.
right? But good question. Yeah, no. It was we handled it very well.
So, I'm impressed because I immediately was like, I would have been, even if it had been me, like my fault, I would have just laid into him so hard. I'm
Oh
not a
yeah.
words person. Like, it's not like I would have been like, you fucking idiot. I would have just given the silent treatment for probably
Oh.
the rest of the day. It would have ruined the whole trip. Uh,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm really good at.
Yeah.
So I was curious. Like even
The silent treatment or ruining the whole trip.
both, they usually
Oh,
come
okay.
hand in hand. Um, but even on Friday, I had taken the day off because I went, oh my gosh, I went to see TLC on Thursday night.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
so
What?
good. It was so good.
TLC.
Um, so it was a late night. So I was
The
like, no, I'm gonna,
waterfalls.
oh, Steph, it was
Don't
like,
go chasing
it was
waterfalls.
unreal. Because
I love
I
that.
remember like Scrubs came out and it
Yeah.
was popular when I was in grade. I'm gonna reveal my age here if I hadn't already, in grade
Yeah.
5. And I remember going to a jelly bean dance, which for people who don't know what jelly bean dances are, they're just like little dances for or elementary school kids, and it's from like 6 to 8 or something, and
Yeah.
you go and I remember No Scrubs was playing, and I was obsessed. And then here I am 500 years later watching TLC, and they're playing No Scrubs, and it just brought me right back to little Rachel at the jelly bean dance.
Oh.
Like It was
That
so
was good
cool.
for your inner child
Oh,
too.
it was amazing. Like,
That's so
and
cool.
there's these like women who are in their 50s still doing the
Yeah.
things and like being impressive.
Yes.
It was super cool to see. But so Friday I had the day off. I was like, I'm gonna do some things around the house. I had a toilet I had to fix, like a garage door keypad thing I had to do.
Yeah.
And I got so frustrated because for the toilet, I couldn't do the water shut off. Like I don't
Mm.
have the grip strength to turn it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just pissed right away cuz I'm like, great, now I need a man to come and help me with this fucking water shut off. So Aaron did the shut off in the morning and then I was like, great, I'll fix the toilet after. And then of course there's another like thing that I had to twist that I didn't have the strength to do it. I couldn't fit the wrench back there. So once again I had to wait for Aaron. But what had happened was it's an old house. So he shuts off the water. I disconnect the hose to the toilet and
Mm-hmm.
the hose was just dripping a bit and I thought, "Oh, it's just the water that's left in the hose." So I just left it there like in a little Tupperware container thinking this will capture whatever comes out.
Mm.
I leave the bathroom. I'm like, it can't be used. I don't walk into it for the rest of the day. And then I'm
Mm.
downstairs doing some ironing for the week. And I'm like, fuck, it smells like wet basement. Like what the fuck is happening down here? So I'm like,
Mm.
this is so weird. So I go into the basement and sure enough, there's water dripping from the
Oh
ceiling onto the
no.
floor. And I was like, what is happening? And it's right under the bathroom and the shut off was not shut off all the way. So I
Oh.
basically flooded this area of the basement. I was so mad. I was so mad. And immediately, like, I know now talking about it, it's not his fault. He thought he shut it off. He came home and I was just like, did you even shut off the water? Did you even test it? Like, I was so, he didn't even have his shoes off. And I was such an
Aw.
asshole. And then to make
Aw.
matters worse, we told the boys not to use the toilet. Don't use the toilet. Sure enough, we go in to like for Aaron to fix the shut off, and Albert had just had a massive shit. But we can't flush the toilet. So poor Aaron's face is like close to this fucking log. And then I'm like berating him with like, what? You didn't even, and he's just like, really? This is what I called to on a Friday? It was hilarious. We had a domestic.
Oh
It
my
was so now
god.
looking back, it's hilarious. But in
Oh
the time,
goodness.
he should have just walked away and been like, you deal with this. I was so mean.
In the moment, that's so hard. But it's funny, like the perspective afterwards, because you can see how ridiculous it all
So
is.
ridiculous.
What even made you think to like fix that yourself?
Oh, I can
Like
do
to
things.
start that. Oh, I don't doubt that you're capable. Why would you want to? I'd be
Oh,
like, Sean, you're dealing with this. This is for you.
so
Love you. You provide for me. I'm gonna
yeah,
sit back and have like a tea.
I Aaron's great at a lot of things. I will ask him to do things and it'll be months.
Yeah,
So I've
that's hard.
learned just to do it. I just do it.
Shit, girl, but now he's never gonna learn. You know what? Sean was like that too, where like we had a hole in the wall of our house where literally it sat there for a year and a half because he was testing to see what was behind the wall before we changed out the door. And then we had this changed out door, but no fixed wall.
Oh no.
I'm like, what is happening here? Like, you
Yeah.
need to fix this. It was so irritating.
Yeah.
Anyways,
That is a
I'm like,
good word to
how?
describe
We're
it.
going deep here. Steph always goes deep, but like, how am I supposed to trust you if you don't
Mm,
keep your word on the actions? So there's a deeper thing here that we won't get into
that
today, but
is deep.
it's a very interesting one. And as a woman, for us to feel safe, we
Yeah.
need the person that we're with to be able to follow through with the things that they say they're going to
Yeah.
do. And
Yeah.
we need to be able to sit back to be able to receive it
Yeah.
or not to criticize them for the way they do it.
That part's the harder part.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. But funny that you have a plumbing story too, because I think in one of our other episodes, the listeners got to hear about how the golden shower Sean got with ours. So we've got two really
Oh
good
no.
plumbing stories we've just dropped in these podcast
Yeah,
episodes. So
that's so funny.
listeners, you're welcome.
You're welcome. This is just what we're about, plumbers. Um,
Apparently I am.
yeah.
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 Oh
But it
gosh,
worked
yeah.
out. Toilet's fixed, so we're good
Toilet's
now.
fixed. All is
Basement's
good.
dry. We're
Yes.
still married, so it's all it's
It's
all
all
it's all up
good.
from here.
Oh my gosh, one day we'll just like with speaking of well-being, dive into the relationships and the
Oh,
attachment styles and all that stuff. I don't know. That stuff's heavy. It's a lot, but you know what? It's rewarding work. It
you
just
know, I
it's
I would be interested to have a chat about that eventually. Like we have close friends of ours that are separating.
mm,
Um he's moved out and it's not about their situation obviously isn't about me. Like I'm not
yeah.
out to lunch here. I am sane. But it's so interesting to see it happen so close to home, so to speak, that Aaron and
Mm,
I discuss it quite a bit. Just because
mm.
it's like it
Was it
was
a
a
shock?
surprise.
Mm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yes. A very huge shock. Um and both lovely people. It just
Mm.
things changed in their lives and it wasn't for them anymore. But
Yeah.
it's just really it's when when you don't see it coming and you kind of think someone has it all together and then you kind of start
Yeah.
reflecting like do we have it
Ooh.
together? I think
Rocks
so.
your world a bit. Yep.
Right? Like what if I
Yep.
didn't see that coming, would I see something coming if Aaron one day was just like, "You know what? This isn't for me."
Mm.
So I do remind him how expensive it would be to leave me.
Oh
Um I do
no.
say like, if we want to retire at whatever soonish,
Yeah.
whatever relatively
Yeah.
speaking, not at 70. Um
Yes.
you probably don't want to divorce me because that's going to
Right.
add 10 years worth of
Oh gosh.
yeah.
So we
So
got some of the threats, but really just perspective. Like
yeah, I
not
don't mean
really
it
a
as a
threat.
threat. I do just mean it as like
The
this would
facts.
be the reality. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
this is
both
what
of
would
us.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
totally.
yeah, but very
Oh,
interesting.
great you guys are talking about this though. And
Oh,
like having
yeah.
some like lighthearted humor about it too, right?
Yeah.
Like for your own selves, but the communication, that's key.
Yeah.
It's not like you both are like, "Oh, this is happening," and like thinking about it and kind of worrying about these questions in your own mind.
No. And I just and for me too, an opportunity to check in. Like, are we
Mm,
good? Like, is there anything
mm,
you has been bugging you or that you feel like we haven't been discussing?
yeah.
And just kind of opening it up to be like, because we can deal with it, versus whenever something were to happen and it was quits. Like, so yeah, just a
Yeah.
lot of that too, like just checking in.
And just like we're coming up on our 4th year wedding anniversary and our 10th 11th year
I
together.
can't believe that.
So,
Holy,
right?
yeah,
It's wild.
time
So
flies.
what would it mean? Like what would this time span, not what would it mean, but what was this time span for this couple?
Oh,
Obviously, we don't want to disclose
so
anything about them, but
this year was their 15-year anniversary of marriage.
marriage.
And then I think they'd been together for almost 20. I think it was 18 years together.
Ah,
Yeah.
I wonder. See, my thought is like, I wonder if they ever did therapy. I mean, I understand that things change, but like with that length of time,
Yeah.
I feel like you're just because there's these stages in marriages too.
Yeah.
And I feel because you have so much vulnerability, so much like, I don't know the whole story. However, like sometimes it's like so bad just before you kind of break through and get through
Yeah.
all the goodness and marriage, they've probably been through a lot of cycles in a
Yeah.
15 or 18-year
Well,
span. So,
kids too, right? Like that really changes dynamic and yeah, for sure.
yeah.
I don't know that they did do much therapy, but I will say I for sure think I don't think it hurts anybody to do,
Mm.
you know?
One, even on your own first,
Yeah.
and then maybe come together. Like, I find until we can work through our own shit,
Yeah.
it's really hard. Like, and if you're trying to change someone else, it's like, no, what can you do for you? And are they going to come and meet you there?
Yeah.
Maybe not the same time, but are they making progress? Or is this like, that
Yeah,
happens too. So,
for sure.
oh yeah. All right. This has been so good to
Yeah.
reconnect. I think like the summer was just a whirlwind at the same time, also just so enjoyable. So yeah, it's good to be back and doing some episodes though.
Yeah, it feels good. I feel like I needed a break Um, just like it just got crazy. Even the boys had soccer 5 days a week. Like I couldn't it was insane for 2 months because of their age group, so they had different days. Like I couldn't keep up with
Mm.
groceries. Like it just
Mm.
was so overwhelming
Oh
suddenly.
my
So I just
gosh.
feel like I needed a pause, do the things, and now I feel like I'm back into like my routine and doing things that I enjoy, like speaking with you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, looking forward to continuing throughout the fall, I hope. And then
Yeah.
yeah, just having a little bit more balance for sure.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. We got to listen to what you need and what you need and I need and ourselves, right? So good for you for taking that time.
Thanks for allowing me to. Takes
Oh
two
my
to
God.
tango.
Oh yeah. This is good, right? We got to go. Whatever's resistant, let go and go back to the
Surrender.
flow.
Yeah.
Surrender.
Yeah.
100%.
I love it.
But I'm going to say, have a great rest of your week. I can't wait for our next chat.
Me too, Steph. You too. Enjoy. Um, can't wait to hear about your next Disney trip that you'll probably sneak in before we talk to each other. Um, you're just
You
gonna have
know
like
it.
Disney for life written somewhere on your
I just
body,
love it.
tattooed. Or each time you go to Disney, you just put little ears, like little mini
Oh,
ears.
I'm just gonna like.
There'd be like 500 ears. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
could you imagine? I should keep like track somehow. That's pretty funny.
it'd be cute. Disney
Oh,
over the
that'd be
years.
so hilarious.
Well, yeah,
It's so
super nice
funny.
to connect, and I look forward to our next talk.
Yes, and for the listeners, drop in like what was kind of like some of the well-being stuff you've been doing this summer. What was your highlight? What was your low? Like, what's all this stuff? And what do you want to hear from us next? So awesome to just hear your comments too. So
Yeah, for
take
sure.
care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. This podcast is designed to provide listeners and viewers with a general overview of how to start investing and growing wealth, provide value to our communities, and live a life of wellness. It is not designed to be a definitive investment guide or life guide to take the place of a qualified financial planner or other professionals. Given the risk involved in investing of almost any kind, there is no guarantee that the investment method suggested in your personal or financial life will be profitable. We do not assume liability of any kind for any losses that may be sustained as a result of applying the methods suggested in this podcast, and any such liability is hereby expressly disclaimed.